To begin, I want to say thank you for completing the pre-course survey. This video, I'm going to talk through some of the points that you raised in the survey itself. And as always, I'm also going to talk through the software tools that I'm using and show different things that we can do. So obviously, I have the talking head in this. I'm using PowerPoint and recording through PowerPoint, which lets me do this. Now, this image, and let's try this. There's a feature to highlight, okay? So this image itself came from Gamma app. So I just took that image, put it on another PowerPoint, and I'm working with this image. All right. With that said, let's look at each of these elements and let me talk through them. You had mentioned that you wanted to get familiar with different visual and audio media tools, and a lot of it had to do with making your teaching and more engaging, right? And for many of you, the teaching is going to be you're creating materials for residents, and they can see it on their own time, maybe. So for all of those, the tools that you mentioned, one was YouTube, the others podcasts and audio. So let's start with YouTube. For YouTube, all of these, I will be saving this particular slide deck as a video, MP4 file. And with YouTube, you just have to upload the file and it is saved. I can do a short overview of how I do the upload to YouTube as well. The thing for podcasts and audio, the limitation with YouTube is YouTube only works with video files. Now, if you're only doing audio, YouTube is not the platform. You have to go to something like your Apple Podcast, Spotify, or something else. Okay. Another way to do it is if you have just audio, create a slide with just one picture and then put the audio on that slide and save it as a video and then upload it. So that's another workaround for having audio on YouTube. Okay. With podcasts itself, I have shared quite a few resources on Canvas for podcasts. So do take a look at that. Whenever you're recording audio, obviously make sure you're in a quiet room with with a fairly decent microphone, right? Even with this, what I will be doing is once I save it as an MP4, I will probably take this to iMovie and modify my audio. You mentioned websites, other online teaching platforms. For websites, currently Google has Google Sites, and you can definitely try out Google Sites. There are other website platforms, but I generally don't do websites. Now, website platforms are things like, what do we have? I'm sorry, it slips my WordPress. WordPress is one of them, and then you have a few other ones as well. Those have slightly larger learning curve, and some of them also have costs associated with them. So generally, I don't do websites. But if you are going to do a website, then I would recommend looking at Google Sites because it's free. With your USU account, Google Sites is also available with your personal Google accounts. So Google Sites is definitely something for you to consider. Some of you had mentioned advanced things like gamification, agentic AI. What I will say for this is, unfortunately, the Gemini version that we have is not agentic. What is agentic AI? Agentic AI is when I give a command and then the tool itself will go off and do different things and then come back. For example, if I tell Gemini to set up calendar invites on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock for something specific, Gemini will actually connect to my calendar and do something, which is setting up those calendar things. That's a simple agentic AI. You can have these tools go to the web, locate specific information, bring that information back, summarize it, and put it into a Word document or a Google Doc. All of that is agentic AI. like I said, agentic AI, we don't have that with our Google Gemini version yet. We do have gems, but gems are not agentic AI. Immersive and gamification. Okay, so there are lots of gamification tools that are available that you could use. The way I'm now using AI for all of this is I go to Gemini and ask it for gamification suggestions. So I will tell it I'm doing a workshop for this group of people on this particular topic. The workshop is so long, it's 60 minutes long or whatever, and I want to gamify it. Give me some suggestions. And it'll give me suggestions. I can pick up any suggestion that I want and ask it to break it down and give me step by step instructions for that game itself. And it will do all that. Then I'm just going to go and implement it. So that's one way of doing gamification. Getting ideas for gamification. Gamification itself can be done in a multitude of ways. So you just need to explore it. What I will say is adding elements like gamification into presentations takes time, right? So you have to be careful with how you're adding this gamification and make sure that you work in time for those elements. If you're doing gamification in an asynchronous module or anything, again, creating the gamification element itself can take a lot of time. So keep those things in mind when you're doing gamification. And tools for gamification, you can look at things like quizzes, Kahoot, Poll Everywhere is the USU version that you can use as well. These are basically audience response systems. So I will put up a little question. People can scan the QR code and put in their response. That is, it's not gamification, it's interaction. Gamification is when you actually have to include elements of a game, as in if you complete activities A, B, and C, you move to the next level, would be a gamification thing. Open to all and any learning tools. Okay, that's great. What I would say is, how do you keep on top of all of these software tools, right? That's one of the big challenges that we have. What I do is I just use Google. Honestly, just a Google search. If I want to create an infographic, I will go to Google and ask for free infographic software tools and then see what happens. I have an idea of what I want to create and then I see what's available. And again, like I said, Google is my go-to for all of these things. Whenever you're looking at tools, keep in mind most of these tools will have a paid version, which is the one that will have most features associated with it. If you don't want to pay, that's fine as well. My recommendation would be for different tools, try them out in the free version for some time. See if you're comfortable with it and if you will get a return on your investment. So, for example, I have a Canva subscription. Currently, it's at $120 a year. For me, that's an exceptionally great return on investment because of the number of materials that I create with Canva, and that 120 is a great investment for me. So you want to think about, am I using this enough to justify that price point? Another example I can give you is I subscribe to ChatGPT on my personal account, and I'm using the $20 version of it. And that's because I try out a lot. I don't want to have a credit limit on it. Now, ChatGPT also has a $200 a month version, which will give you much better, robust research information and all that. Personally, for the way I use it, it would not be worth the money for me. So that's a level that I'm not going to. So I assess my usage and which level would be the most beneficial to me, and I use it that way. So those are just a few snippets of to address some of the things that you all mentioned in your pre-course survey.